Now, from the Columbia Basin, your local news source, this is iFIBER 1 News, presented in high definition. The #1 source for real-time local news, local sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. With your iFIBER 1 News team, reporting news in real time as it's happening. From the iFIBER Communications HD broadcast studio in Ephrata, Washington, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
Welcome to iFIBER 1 News. I'm Sarah Brewer with your news from around the Columbia Basin for Tuesday, March 26th. Tonight we report on a data center that's looking at Ephrata as a future home site and hear how people still have a few days to weigh in on overcrowding in the Moses Lake School District. We'll take a look at a $7.6 million project that will buy Grant PUD a new hydro engineering office and learn how cash registers are being chucked out of retail stores across the country. In sports, we'll take a look at the Columbia Basin Riverhawks. The Amateur Adult Football League is ready to start their 4th season with new management and new uniforms. Our spotlight story tonight is about a little boy with a disability who's getting some help from an unlikely animal. We also have the latest weather forecast for the Columbia Basin from the iFIBER 1 Weather Center. First up tonight, you might recall our story last month about James Glencoe, a Moses Lake teen who had lost his hand to a homemade pipe bomb explosion in 2011. His dad was at last night's Ephrata School Board meeting warning educators about the issue. Spencer Graham has a story.
Matthew Glencoe spoke to the Ephrata School Board Monday night about the lack of awareness involving teens and explosives.
As I've had conversations with people in the field, law enforcement, ATF, their sense is that it is increasing.
Ever since his son, 17-year-old James Glencoe, lost his hand to a homemade pipe bomb explosion 2 years ago, Matthew has been trying to raise public awareness about the issue. He says the internet is one of the largest sources of the problem. Kids can easily look up detailed instructions for creating explosives using simple, over-the-counter ingredients.
Again, it's 4 ingredients, I guess. Bottle, water, aluminum foil, and some Drano. That's it. And it's obviously any idiot can create that.
YouTube videos are a major culprit. Kids often upload videos of their experiments, prompting other young viewers to try and recreate the potentially lethal explosions. Matthew wants to help parents understand what to look for when they suspect their children are tinkering with bombs. He linked this issue to the mass shooting at Columbine, pointing out that the students responsible were known for making explosives prior to the event.
They had been setting off bombs for months and months. And if somebody had not taken boys will be boys kind of an attitude to it, they would have had drilled down on that. Law enforcement had drilled down on that.
According to Michael Young's forthcoming book, The Bomb Boys, kids can be categorized into 4 tiers of bomb behavior, from those who are often playing around with explosives to those who want nothing to do with them. More information on this is posted at iFIBER1.com. Glencoe plans to speak in front of a board of educational professionals in Spokane on June 24th. For iFIBER 1 News, this is Spencer Graham reporting.
Thanks, Spencer. The Ephrata City Council last week got a visit from Emily Braunwert and Alan Peterson with the Grant County Economic Development Council. EDC officials told the council about a small startup data center company that's eyeing the city for a possible future location. Company representatives reportedly visited the city this month to look at a building at the Port of Ephrata, and the EDC is optimistic that they might move in. The data center was one of 4 companies that recently asked the EDC for more information about the city. The list also included food processors and aerospace firms. EDC officials say they've had an influx of requests like these in the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy. The county's lack of natural disasters is reportedly making it attractive to companies such as data centers. 2013 could be the year of the quinoa in the Pacific Northwest. Pacific Northwest farmers who don't know about the grain-like seed crop are likely to find out soon. Quinoa has become popular around the U.S. in recent years and is positioned to see a growth spurt in our region thanks to a $1.6 million U.S. Department of Agriculture grant, which was recently awarded to Washington State University researchers. Quinoa is seen as a highly nutritious, high-protein, gluten-free alternative to grains and rice. The Wazoo project aims to identify the best varieties suited for organic production in this region and develop practices for quinoa growers and sellers. And speaking of food, Ephrata's United Methodist Church is continuing its tradition of offering a free meal the last Thursday of each month. Volunteers will serve the next supper this Thursday beginning at 5:30 p.m. at the church located next to the Grant County Courthouse at 117 C Street Northwest. Everyone is welcome to attend. Turning now to crime news, a Washington State Court of Appeals upheld a 2-year sentence for a man who assaulted corrections officers a day after his release from jail. The court rejected Adelenmo Beltran Jr.'s argument that the law landing him in prison for an extra year is too vague. Corrections officers went to Beltran's Quincy home the day after he was released in 2011, after serving a sentence for third-degree assault. Beltran wasn't supposed to have contact with his brother after his release, but when he answered the door and admitted his brother was inside, correction officers tried to arrest him, triggering the fight that brought him before a judge again. A Mattawa woman was caught in Oregon with more than 2 pounds of methamphetamines, is serving 5 years in jail. Cindy Eckenberg was arrested in 2011 near Prineville. She reportedly had more than 2 pounds of meth, more than an ounce of cocaine, several hundred ecstasy pills, and more than $53,000. The arrest led deputies to search Eckenberg's Mattawa trailer, where they found 10 grams of cocaine, 3 ounces of methamphetamine, and more than 1,000 ecstasy pills. Each of the people you see here has warrants for their arrest and is wanted by various law enforcement agencies. If you see any of these people, the DOC asks that you do not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but to call the police. You can also call the Department of Corrections at 509-764-6180 during the day or 509-762-1160 after 5 p.m. We'll be back with weather and sports after these messages.